And it was on this day, May 15th, 75 years ago, that 5 Philadelphia businessmen created the Aircraft Owners and Pilots Association in this building, the Philadelphia Aviation Country Club on Wings Field. You can read much more about that history in the May issue of AOPA Pilot magazine. We also talked to some folks who participated in some of that history, including former AOPA Board Chairman Andy Pugh. Mr. Pugh is completing his 44th year as an AOPA trustee.
My instructor, the FBO, wouldn't sign my logbook for solo until I had filled out an application for this organization called AOPA. I didn't know what it was. I asked him what it was. And he said, all you have to know is that's the organization that will keep you in the air. And so I filled it out and been a member ever since 1956. And it has kept me in the air. Of course, Hartrandt was really the first president. There was a true president. He came from the publishing world. He was a sort of a newspaper man. And but there was no doubt that he liked aviation and was a pilot.
In fact, he earned his way through college, flying newsreels back in those days from Philadelphia out to smaller cities. And he knew Washington, and he worked terribly hard to keep AOPA going, because this was just before the World War II started. When AOPA started. Doc was in the military, stationed in Washington. So during the day, Doc worked at his military position, and at night he kept AOPA going through the war years until it could start growing properly afterwards.
As far as being charismatic, I would not say he was too charismatic. However, he had a wonderful fellow in his organization by the name of Max Carrant.
He knew things would happen, and he knew what to do, but he did not like to get out front in doing it. Also, Doc was the kind of a person who would try and do something with cooperation and smooth talking and different types of trying to move all around without getting angry. That's where he and Max Carrant, who became the second full-time employee at AOPA, that's where he and Max were great combination.
And Max Carrant was the bulldog mentality that we really wanted. Max, too, of course, was a very experienced pilot. But he went after any opponent of general aviation like an attack-trained shepherd.
Spence wrote a book about the legendary Max Carrant.
Max did so much in publicizing aviation and working with the agencies, with the FAA. An executive at the Federal Aviation Administration told me one time, he said, Max wasn't always right, but he made us be right. And that was the important thing about AOPA.
The great satisfaction I have is that I can still go up this afternoon to my hangar and pull my airplane out and go flying, which might not have been the case without AOPA.
So that's a bit about AOPA's past, but what about the future? We asked Mark Baker.
Well, it's a great future ahead. You know, I think of AOPA and where it's been for the last 75 years. The great foundation was created by our forefathers, if you will, and the opportunity that we have now to grow aviation going forward. It's going to be probably different than we thought about in the past. I mean, I don't think we're going to see the manufacturers deliver tens of thousands of new airplanes anytime soon. But I do think the way we want to approach aviation, we've got great communities, 5,000 public use airports, can build more flying clubs than ever. And I think seeing people that have 5 owners for a plane, or maybe even 10 owners per plane, partners or clubs, is the future of aviation. And frankly, it's going to be a lot more fun. Well, it continues to be, we're going to be dealing with the FAA and reauthorization, but clearly we've got to get this third-class medical reforms done. We continue to build support in Congress. I think we're now close to 108 people signed up for supporting this change to the third-class medical. We continue to build momentum on that every day through either legislation or through FAA rulemaking, I think we're going to get this third-class medical handled. You know, it's really amazing. You look at this 75-year organization, and I happen to be the 5th guy in 75 years to lead this organization. It's not an accident. There are a lot of great people all over the country that support AOPA and have continued to support AOPA through times of good and bad. And that's not an accident. That fundamental reason why we join AOPA, which is about having fun in flying, making sure we don't get legislated out of the sky, talk about safety, and continue to talk about how we can continue to lower costs and protect our cost position in aviation without having user fees and such. Really fundamental to what will be the future of aviation. We need your support.
Every Thursday,
we're working to get you answers.
the most experienced reporters in general aviation,
bringing more details as they develop.
the stories that affect you.
We talk with our own safety expert.
Every Thursday, AOPA Live this week.